resume. Hello everyone, this is GrootsCom. Welcome back to another episode of Factorio with the BioIndustries mod. In the previous episode, we completely redesigned our cokery area, which is kind of backed up because we're only going to coal here. We're not going to pellet coke. It looks like our buffer chest is still doing okay, so I'm not too concerned about that. We'll have to come back to that later because we're going to have to provide a new fuel source since we don't have pellet coke anymore. These ones I'm not as concerned about. We'll fix that when we get to it, but yeah, 4,000 pellet coke, even if they were running right now, it would take a while to diminish that supply. We are ready for coal liquefaction, so the first thing we need to do is start that research. It shouldn't take too long. Let's get that going. And then this is going to be the area we're going to put it. Let's get rid of this. We don't need the cokeries anymore. Definitely don't need these guys anymore. And let's look at our recipe for coal liquefaction. So it looks like, I wish this was mirrored. I can't just rotate it. I would actually love it if I could just mirror this. But this is the recipe, or the design that I made. So I'm just going to have to keep this one. And I have lots of room, which is a good thing. So if I had enough coal, I could be doing a lot of this. And who knows, maybe I will. Let's just get everything built. Everything is within the construction range of this roboport. And as long as I have all these supplies, it should be fine. It'll just go and place everything. This is a bio boiler. I don't know if I'm actually making those, so that might be a problem. But let's get our coal where it needs to be first. And the recipe calls for blue belts, which are not available yet. Oops, let's get that where it needs to go. So maybe that's another thing we should do is, while that's building, actually start building the blue belts. We really don't need it for anything else, so that's a good thing because this is a very expensive recipe. I don't need pellet coke anymore also. I don't need these, don't need that. Thank you. Let's get some. I didn't want to do that, but I don't want to have these requesters. I don't want to have this. There we go. So we'll make that the actual. So we already have our belts here, so I don't think it would be a bad thing to have these belts like this. The only bad thing about this is they do require lubricant, and I don't have that coming. Oh, I do have. It's coming in here. Yeah, that was planned, I guess. We'll say it was planned. There we go. And coal liquefaction is already done. Let's just do something like stack inserter bonus. Why not? Let's get our request in here. And then what this is going to do is it's really going to tax this gear production. This thing's just going to go crazy. So is anything... Wow, we don't have enough like input for this. Let's see if this helps us out. Hopefully the iron can keep up, because this is going to be very demanding. There we go. Look at that production of the iron gear wheels. That's just going crazy. And this is the upgraded assembly machine, the level 3 assembly machine with 4 speed modules. So that's definitely going to help. You can see it is stockpiling a little bit. These things are just going to use so many iron gear wheels. Fortunately, their other requests are just like the level 2 belts, or the red belts for this. The red undergrounds for this one. And then this one, unfortunately, does take red circuits, which we don't have a lot of. I'll help it out a little, because I don't need those in my inventory. How many? Ooh. Look at all that. That's a lot of speed modules. Alright. So now that those are being built, they'll just go into the construction of the Roboport network, and they'll go into this design. I need to set the recipe since I have it now. And of course, I forgot to build my bio boiler, and I need concrete for that, which I was just there. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. I have my bio boiler, so I can go ahead and insert that where it needs to go. Only thing is, it needs some water into it, and thankfully we have water fill, so we can just carve out a little hole here. I kind of wish I had like a mining animation when he was digging. That'd be kind of cool if you had to actually mine the hole out, and maybe you could harvest stone that way too. How cool would that be? So coal liquefaction requires steam, and that's hooked up. I'm trying to figure out what's... Oh boy. Oh boy, this is not good. I completely forgot that the recipe requires heavy oil to start with. You cannot do it without heavy oil, and the only way you can make heavy oil is with the traditional crude oil as the starting product. And if you remember, I turned all that into solid fuel. Whoops. It would have been nice to have that. So I know I have some pump jacks somewhere. Let's go ahead and request that. And then I need to also have a refinery. I only need one of those though. I mean, I really only need one pump jack as well, but I'm sure it's bringing... On the way 0. Okay, they might be in the vehicle. So I'll have to put a pump jack down, a refinery, and then... I don't know, I probably will just barrel some. I don't really want to do that either. Well, what other choice do I have, I guess? Oh, I did have a pump jack somewhere. Interesting. You know what? I could pipe this. I have enough pipes in my inventory. I'll just pipe it over. And I only need to get it started because if you look at that recipe, it actually produces more of the heavy oil than it consumes. Let's see, can this fit in here? No, of course not. And I'll just do the regular recipe because I want more crude oil. Wow, I only need one cycle of this to actually produce the total heavy oil that I need. There we go, and it's producing already. This is going to be crazy. Just like such a hack. But it's okay. We'll never speak of this again. And there we go. There it goes, and it's filling all the pipes right now. And I'm just going to let this one go for a little while to kind of build up our supply. We'll turn this pump off. This tank right here stores our heavy oil. Actually, I need a water supply here for the heavy oil cracking because we'll produce more heavy oil than we consume. And see, it's filling up its way down here, and the more that produce, the more heavy oil we're going to get out of it. And you can see more of them are firing up. I think some of the heavy oil might be good. No, it's not getting stuck in here. That's a good thing. But these don't have any in the input yet. And look at that, we already have some solid fuel coming out. Yay. Let's go ahead and collect that. Why not? So heavy or solid fuel is going to be our new fuel source, like I said, for smelting, but it's also going to be required for rocket fuel. Looks like everybody's producing. Do we have any stockpiled? Nope. Starting the stockpile though. And I'm sure these guys have some input. No, not yet. I wonder why not. Oh, because I disconnected that, so they couldn't have it yet. Let's just keep going with the lab's research speed. So, I don't need... Oh, that's why. I was trying to figure out why it wasn't connected. Or why it had stopped, but that's because this one had stopped. See, and it's like it never happened. Erased all the evidence. Ooh, you know what I just realized? We don't have any fertilizer. Why not? Okay, we're not producing fertilizer because we're not getting sulfur. We're not getting sulfur because I disconnected a pipe probably somewhere that shouldn't have been. Petroleum isn't getting through because this is not hooked up. Yep, that's exactly what happened. Oh, and we wouldn't have any plastic either because this isn't hooked up. Is there any way I can get a pipe to go from like here to... No. How about here? Ooh, yes, that works. I would rather it came in up here. Oh, of course. It's so close. No, you know what? I'm not a fan of doing that. It's just... It's very expensive. These underground pipes. Compared to the straight pipes they are. Okay, thankfully we didn't run out of fertilizer here. That would have been much worse, but that looks good. But our logistics network... Look at all that pollution. Yeah, look at this pollution. We are just making all these biters upset. You can just imagine that they're stewing right now. And this area is going to be very heavy pollution. Let's see how our coal looks. So our coal's keeping up with this, but the idea is that I can kind of mirror this or rotate it so that I've got a whole nother row of these guys on the bottom. So we can use more coal if we have it. And I haven't done the math to figure out how much coal we could actually produce from all this, given that, I mean, we'll need a little bit of wood from here. We'll need some of the pulp to make the ash. But I think we could make a lot more coal. Everything is backed up. I mean, we're not even utilizing this entire red belt here. And the wood is really backed up. So we could do a lot more. Oh, of course I have the ability to increase... I mean, this isn't really going to increase the production at all, but I could do this. This might be one of those times, too, where I would actually want to upgrade the belt already. I wonder if it'd be worth canceling this, because I don't really think I would ever need yellow belts anymore. We're kind of getting to the point in the game where red belt is probably the minimum speed that we want for our materials to come in. And then of course what we do want, we'll make that request lower too. Maybe like 200 of the blue belts. We'll do some undergrounds and the splitters. Probably just exhausted our supply. Well, not quite. Definitely of the exhausted our supply of the blue belts, but this is enough to do some upgrades, I think. You know what? I don't have to leave here. I've got the upgrade planner. Let's clear these automatic. You know what? Sorry, I think this is gonna have to be. Oops. Let's just do red belts here. Oh my gosh, I need to stop doing that. Splitters go in the 5 slot. This one goes here. There we go. Okay. Let's upgrade some belts. Here. Whoop. Haven't set the upgrade planner to upgrade red to blue yet, but we can. Here we go. Red to blue. Although these don't really need to be upgraded, I was looking more at the supply. Because now we can make 2 red belts and almost make a blue belt from that. It's not quite the same because it's 26.6 instead of what, 52? But that is a lot of coal. How's our supply? Wow, 2,000? Not bad. And everything is running, I believe. Sometimes it's hard to tell. Is everyone getting their required inputs? These are not cracking, so this is just going to stockpile. And it's funny the way that the cracking works out, because it's like, it's one of these heavy oil to light oil cracking wouldn't be enough to kind of keep this, like, keep the heavy oil depleted. So you could use 2 of them, but then you run the risk of running out of heavy oil. You definitely don't want to do that. So you can set up a circuit to say, hey, you know, if this is more than 2,000, then go ahead and let the pump run, something like that. In fact, we could do that now. Do I have a pump? Probably check that first, huh? I'm sure I have some in storage. Somewhere. Oh, look at all this junk in here. There's one. Found it. I figured it had to be there. Look at that, our solar farm is just about done. And let's see, in the last hour we haven't even touched the generators. And you can see the solar spikes. That's because it's charging the accumulators and running the plant. And then it goes back to the level that it needs to be just to run the plant and not the accumulators. Then those accumulators kick in at night. and then everything just kind of balances out. Our looks like our need has gone up. That's because we're doing research, or our use of electricity, I should say, not our need. But same difference. So let's get this pump in here. Oh, I actually had another pump. That's weird. Let's just rotate that, and let's just say that we only want it to run if we have more than like 1,000. So it'll only take, I guess that doesn't matter because I don't have water here. I need to get water to the heavy oil cracking. And look, I have this pump, but I didn't think to bring that pipe down. That's one thing I didn't have in the design. So cracking isn't going to happen because we have no water. This thing is stockpiling. And like I said, we do have the ability now to make rocket fuel. If we wanted to be crazy, we could use rocket fuel for smelting. I've never seen anybody do that. It'd be kind of interesting. But we actually would lose a little bit of energy density when we do that, because 10 solid fuel should be 250 megajoules, whereas rocket fuel is only 225. So you lose 25 megajoules, or 10% of your fuel density by using rocket fuel. But you do need it for rocket, the rocket itself. So I think what we'll do is we'll have the solid fuel come back around here, or somehow get to... It's really not a good way to get there from all the stuff that I've made. It's kind of a mess here. But we want to get solid fuel up to this line here, so let's do that somehow. And these blue undergrounds go a long ways. And here, you know, I was going to use yellow belts, but I probably don't have any because I got rid of them all. Who needs those anymore? Okay. And now solid fuel is coming on the line here. Our research is done. Thank you. Could do military. That would give us... we don't really have nuclear yet. I haven't decided if we want to do nuclear in this episode. It's a whole nother process that we would have to do to get it. It is an awesome fuel source in the game, but honestly, solar and accumulators are even better. It just takes up more space, which space I'm not as worried about. So look at that. We almost ran out of pellet coke in our storage, but we're now going to have solid fuel on here. You know, hey, we're losing 5 megajoules per one like thing that we have in here. But pellet coke, like I said, in this point in the game, it just doesn't make sense to produce that when we're going to need to make rocket fuel anyway. So just looking at this, I would say that we don't have enough. It's probably because we're not using enough wood, which is why we're running out of wood pulp. So we probably need to make more coal from charcoal that comes from wood. And right now, I mean, how much coal do we need? It's not critical. We're not making rocket fuel yet. But we will. Let's mark this area so you know what we got. And there is no way to show that this is like cracking, but let's just say it's solid fuel production. And of course this is our petroleum over here. Where's our petroleum? Here it is. Okay. We got a little bit of lubricant here. Plastic is here. Something I should have been... Oh, I'm gonna go. Didn't go. I hit cancel. Whoops. I should have been better at this. Just labeling everything. It's kind of nice to see where everything is at. I did it for the smelting areas. How do our minds look? Wow, look at that. 637, 9.9 thousand, and 200,000. My guess, yeah, there is a lot of mines we can take out. So just use the robots to do that. Not that this is essential, because they're not actually, if they're just sitting here, they're not doing anything, they're not using power, they're not polluting. So it's kind of irrelevant to do this on camera. This whole row is gone. I mean, 637. Yeah, some of these only have like 63, 49, 103. One thing I wanted to see before we're done, now that we've got our... Really excited about that solid fuel. That's... the ratio isn't perfect, but it's very close. You can't really get it perfect, I don't think. And you can see the light oil is kind of flashing a little bit. It's not quite enough. I'm trying to think if that's because of... It has nothing to do with heavy oil, because that hasn't topped out yet. When I calculated the ratio, it was actually... I think I needed 13.5 of this light oil to solid fuel. So there's only 13 here, but for some reason it's not at full capacity for light oil. So I'm not sure if there's something that got mixed up. It's just a maze of pipes because things don't line up, and I could have made it prettier, but I really wanted to make something as compact as I could. Like I said, this is why I did it in creative mode. It's just easier to design something like this that takes a lot of time. You have to be careful when pipes are next to each other. If you have a straight pipe next to another straight pipe, like if this pipe was here and made this L shape, it would have connected. And then you have mixed fluids. You can't mix your fluids. Causes all kinds of problems we've seen before. I think with that, we got the coal liquefaction done. We've got solid fuel now. We're going to be able to make rocket fuel. We're going to have to look at making those low density structures and the very, very expensive rocket control units. Maybe in the next episode, not sure yet. I think we might have to do something with copper. We'll have to look at that. But thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.